Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Thursday, July 14th, 2016. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Joined as always on Thursdays by the lovely and talented Steve Wiltfong. Steve, the Midwest, Indiana, the weather.
We got hit with storms yesterday. It's a little dark here this morning here in Indianapolis, the 317. Good morning, Bucknutters.
Drink. Yeah, here in the Gem City, it actually did rain hard last night, but it's that morning sun after a good rain. It's actually good, so we're not going to jinx it. Speaking of places that rain and segues, Steve was out in Oregon for the opening. He has been back for a little bit, but when we spoke on Thursday, he had yet to really see everything get up and running. Now, he did not spend the whole time in Oregon. He had some family obligations to deal with, but why don't you put a bow on the opening for us as it kind of pertains to the Buckeyes?
Well, for me, it starts with ZEKE Dobbins, the top 247 running back out of LaGrange, Texas, winning the Nike Football Rating Championship with a score of 146.76, a 4.45 40-yard dash, 4.09 shuttle, laser time, 5'9.5", 201 pounds. Talked with some people afterwards, and I posted a story leading up to the event on Bucknuts, where, an Ohio State insider, one of my sources, called him a freak and told me to watch out for him. And then, sure enough, man, he put up a humongous number and won the Nike Football Rating Championship, the most athletic player in the country. Last year's defending champ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, scored like a 149, so ZEKE was 3 points away from that. Donovan didn't work out this year. He was banged up, didn't participate. Jeffrey Okudah, top 247 corner, obviously, arguably one of the top players in Texas, arguably the top defensive back in the nation, posted the second highest score. I think Ohio State's the leader for him. Cam Akers third, Buckeyes in the top group for him. So Ohio State, they know, I think it's a credit to the Buckeye staff when they are targeting prospects on the trail. They're looking for elite athletes, and the three guys that finished the highest are top Buckeyes targets. Josh Myers did what he always does, tested extremely well. Bill had a nice story on Josh yesterday, kind of talking about the type of offense Josh plays in. I think when Josh gets into the Ohio State strength and conditioning program and gets out there with Coach Stud and Coach Warner and the staff, his upside's through the roof. He's a great-looking 6'6", 306 pound prospect, and to think that there were a couple guys at the opening that were even more physically imposing than him is crazy. But Josh is still an elite prospect in my mind. Wyatt Davis, another guy in that group, the nation's number one offensive guard for 24/7 Sports Composite. He was a physically imposing person. I was disappointed Jake Moretti wasn't out there as he got hurt at Ohio State's camp, but I think he's in that same mold as an elite guy. Brendan White tested well, played well in 7-on-7, and then Haskell Garrett, had some really good reps on the inside and showed he's one of the nation's top defensive tackles, ranks number 4 right now for the 24/7 Sports Composite. So those were the Ohio State guys that flashed, and that puts a bow on the opening.
What do you make of the chatter that's come out? I know that Jay Martell is a kid I covered literally in the early 2000s back in McLean, Virginia. So, Jay, what's up? You're probably a financial planner somewhere. But seriously, Tate Martell and the chatter he has with the Florida State receiver, that's just, I wrap that up to just kind of a social media evolution of
Tate's the lightning
rod. Go ahead, yeah.
Tate's the
so you're not surprised?
Well, I'm not. I mean, it was, Tate's the most popular guy in this recruiting class when you start looking at social media following, and, he's been on the radar for so long. It's disappointing to see that, but we all have moments where, and I don't even know if DJ Matthews regrets it, to be honest, but, as humans, we all run our yaps sometimes and regret it later, and whether he's right or wrong, you still not a good reflection on him to talk like that about one of his peers. And, but at the same time, we're all capable of saying dumb stuff, and I just chalked it up as, I kept it moving. DJ thinks Mac Jones is better than Tate, and maybe Mac is. That's the thing. It's tough to rank these guys, and they all do good things. And Mac Jones is a really good player that's going to Alabama. Tate's a really good player that's going to Ohio State. It's been in the limelight for a long time, and DJ just stood up for one of his local guys, and not that anyone asked him to, but he did. And I don't read too much into it. It's just guys talking, and no one's ever batting 1,000.
Agreed. Just based on the opening and what you saw out there, who do you see among the Buckeye recruits that could have a change in their recruiting rating, or is that too early to decide that?
Well, I actually think we have most of the Buckeyes recruits ranked pretty right. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to get a bump for sure. He's gonna move up closer into that. In my opinion, I think he's going to move closer to that 5-star range. We have to discuss it as a staff, but that's something I'm going to be pushing for. Everyone else is already ranked pretty damn high. I mean,
yep.
I don't really know what changes we could have. To most of these guys are already so highly thought of. But J.K. Dobbins certainly is a guy that we have ranked at 24/7 Sports. He checks in at 56, but I could see him getting into that low 30s range, if not higher. He did some freaky stuff out there, and he can catch the football. And he's and that was my first time seeing J.K. in person. He kind of looks like he may be slight in build if you look at some of these pictures. He's not. He's over 200 pounds. I think he'll play at 210 easy, 215, in Columbus, and just be explosive. And my opinion on J.K. changes, and people are like, it's a short T-shirt event. You can learn a lot from a short T-shirt event in addition to the film, and there's a reason why there's an NFL combine and college football pro days and draft boards changes after seeing kids work out and mesh, and
sure.
Seeing JK, the film already was awesome, but then you see him in person and it takes it up, and you see him work out in person and you see how explosive he is. It was a game changer for me, and it was my first time getting eyes on him in person.
I'm not comparing J.K. Dobbins to a certain running back who makes a lot of money now thanks to America's team. But these are the exact same things that were said about Ezekiel Elliott when he went to the opening X number of years ago. Literally, the exact same things. Is he a real running back? Blah, 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 blah. Is he a scat back? I remember seeing him in person for the first time. I'm like, man, he's got a big butt. He's thicker than I thought. So I'm not comparing. I'm just saying go ahead.
No, I'm with you. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't.
That's all right.
Ezekiel didn't play the greatest competition at St. Louis Burroughs. So in our industry, we're getting better at this. I mean, with each year, we're trying to get more knowledgeable football guys, and we're talking to more sources on the next level. But with Ezekiel, you knew he was a great track guy, and you knew he had that elite athleticism. With J.K., it was the question for a lot of people was, how does he stack up standing next to other elite backs? Because he plays in Texas. He's gone for over 2,000-something yards the last 2 years. He rushed for damn near 3,000 last year. He scored 72 touchdowns the last 2 seasons rushing.
In Texas.
Right. So the question for J.K. is he more of a, you line him up in the slot, you got to, you give him, and I've even said this on the Bucknuts Morning 5 before, and now I'm thinking back, like, man, I had it wrong. Like, I was like, he's a guy that'll get 12 carries, catch 6 passes, and get his 18 touches that way. you can hand him the ball 25 times after seeing him in Oregon. Now, my opinion has changed. I think he can be the every down back at Ohio State. Anyway, he could be every down back everywhere. He's not quite as big as Ezekiel, but Ezekiel is also, I'm looking at it now, Ezekiel had 3 years with Marotti.
No doubt.
We'll see what JK looks like when he's 21 years old. But it was cool seeing them stand next to each other, and it was cool seeing Ezekiel out there too. And looking forward to seeing him have a good career with Dallas.
You and me both, brother. I'll say this.
For the new listeners, I think most people, Ezekiel was probably my favorite recruit to cover. So that's a guy that the Wiltfong house roots for.
I'll say this. I remember you're the one who introduced me to the ambassador, his father. So, no, I mean, Ezekiel was kind of a one in a million type. But I'm saying it's like the same thing they said about Dobbins. Well, it was the idea of him not being an every down back kind of thing. And then you realize that was totally false. All right, good show. Very interesting stuff. Reinforced our hopes for J.K. Dobbins, etc. Steve, we appreciate you taking the time. Have a good one, Bucknutters.
Appreciate it, guys.